YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy Noel Blends. We are back at it again with another haircut tutorial. I'm gonna show you guys how to do a mid taper fade. I'm gonna show you guys step by step what I do to achieve this type of look. Other than that, it's your boy Noel Blends, and let's get right into it. So we are gonna start off by trimming down his curls. We are just gonna clean it up, nothing crazy. He didn't want too much off, so he just said trim down the edges. So we're just gonna clean up all around, giving him some shape. For the most part, we're taking my shears and we're just gonna clean up any little hairs that's sticking up extra long than the others. Just make sure you go all around and keep it as consistent as possible. Next, what you want to do is grab your number 2 guard, lever fully open, and we're going to start to debulk his sides. We don't want to dig in too crazy, so as you guys can see, I'm giving it more of a scoop out motion towards the top, towards his curls. That way we don't dig in too crazy and give him that blowout type look. Once you finish that up, we are going to come in and create our first initial bald guideline. As you guys can see, these are my 0 gap trimmers, and we're going to create about a rounder motion, keeping the C cups. That way we can keep it nice and dark as well. Next, what you want to do is grab your shavers, and we're just going to let the shaver do its work. Do not put crazy pressure because it will be hard to take out this line. What you want to do is go all the way to the first initial bald guideline we created and just let the shaver do its work. Now for our next step, we are going to grab our half guard, lever fully closed, and we're going to create about 1/2 inch guideline, keeping the same motion we created with our first initial bald guideline. As you guys can see, keeping the blade flat as well, making sure everything is nice and down to the half guard. Now for our next step, we are going to take out the first initial bald guideline we had created. These are my Ulster fast feeds. They are 0 gap with the ceramic blade. I like using these, but you can use any clipper you want as long as you're comfortable with it. Keep in mind the lever is fully closed. We are just breaking the line. Open it up a little bit if you have to, but you don't always have to. It should come right out. Right here, we're just going in with our 0 gap trimmers and cleaning up any little stubble that my clipper missed. Now for our next step, we are coming in with our 1.5 guard, lever fully closed, and we're going to create another 1/2 inch guideline, following the same motion we created already and just keeping the blade flat. Towards the top, you do want to give it more of a flick, that way you don't dig into his curls, but for the blending part, you do want to keep the blade flat and just let the clipper do its work. Don't put crazy pressure in it. Also guys, you know, this is just the way I do it. It might not be perfect, but this is what has helped me out, and I'm hoping it'll help you guys out as well. Now for our next step, we are coming in with our 1 guard, lever fully open, and doing the same exact thing we just did with our 1.5. On the same guideline, you're going to copy the same step. So you're going to keep it open, and then we're going to close it halfway. You guys can see right here. And then we're going to go a little bit more lower than that, making sure the darkness is lightening up. And then we're going to fully close it to attack the middle ghost line. Right here, as you guys can see, I fully closed it. Now it's gonna leave a little ghost line, but it's not gonna take it out completely. It's just softening everything up, so that way we come in with our half guard and clean everything up. Sometimes I might take it out completely, but most of most of the time, like 95% of the time, it's not going to. It just depends on the hair texture. Now we're just going to come in with our half guard, lever fully closed, and we're going to utilize our corners to attack any little dark spots that are one missed. And we're just gonna connect everything together basically. Once you see the little dark spots come out, just leave it alone. Do not spend too much time on this. Just once it lines up, leave it alone. So right here basically is just detailing at this point. I'm not really doing a blend anymore. I'm just detailing any little dark spot that I missed. Remember that detailing is a big part. You want to make sure everything is how you want it, and that's going to set you apart from the rest of the barbers. Right here we did add a little bit of hairspray as well. We are doing his lineup, his C cup. We're gonna add a little bit of enhancement, a little bit of dark pencil and white pencil, and just to give it an extra pop. Make sure you stretch the skin when using the razor, that way you don't irritate your client. I am dry shaving, but if you're just starting out as well, I do recommend using a little bit of shave gel. Nothing too crazy because shave gel can get messy. A lot of barbers ask me what are the first steps to adding the enhancement. So I like to go in with my trimmers first, making sure everything's nice and sharp before adding the enhancement. Then I throw in a little bit of the pencil or the paint, the Kiss Express, and then I razor it once I have the Kiss Express or the pencil in there. And then I add the white pencil and then use my trimmers to make it look a little bit nicer, and then brush in the rest of the white pencil. That's the steps I use to add the enhancements. Next, what we're doing, we're coming in with our number 2 guard, lever fully open, and we're just cleaning up, debulking, giving it shape at the same time, going around his ears. I like to do this for these type of haircuts, that way I get a nice crispy lineup, because if the hair is super long around the ears, it's going to be super tough to get a nice crispy lineup. As you guys can see, I'm just giving a scooping motion towards the top, that way we don't dig too crazy into his curls. Now once you finish that step, we are going to start our back taper with our first initial bald guideline. As you guys can see, we're just going to set it as even as possible, as consistent. I like to go up towards his edges on the sides, that way it don't look super dark around the edges. I don't really like that, in my opinion. Every barber has a preference, but if they don't specifically tell me, the client, that he wants his edges super dark, and I'll just do it like this, that way it looks a lot cleaner, in my opinion. Now to begin our fade, we are going to come in with our half guard, lever fully closed, and we're going to create about an inch guideline, just making sure the blade's flat, making sure everything's nice and down to the half guard, lever fully closed, and just make sure it's nice and consistent. Consistent guidelines, even guidelines, create a nice blend. Next, what you want to do, we are going to grab our Oster fast feeds or whatever clipper you got, and we're going to break that first initial bald guideline we created. Go right on it, open it about a quarter if you need to. However much you need to, you won't need much. It should come right out. Now we're going with our zero gap trimmers and just take off any little stubble that our clipper missed. Now for our next step, we are grabbing our 1.5 guard, lever fully closed, and we're creating about another inch guideline. As you guys can see, we are giving it more of a scoop, a flicking motion towards the top, that way we don't dig into his curls. And just making sure it's nice and even and down to the 1.5. You want to make it look as even as possible, as consistent as possible. Those type of guidelines create super clean blends. You guys can see, we're just making sure everything's nice and down and consistent. Now what you want to do is grab your one guard, lever fully open, and we're going to do the same exact thing we did with our 1.5, and we're just going to keep the blade flat, just making sure everything's nice and down to the one guard. Lever fully open, we're going to end up closing it halfway, and then we're going to close it fully. We're basically starting to fade down now. So you guys can see I'm just making sure everything's nice and down to the one guard. I want it to look as smooth as possible. Remember, these are steps that help me become a better barber with my fading techniques, and it helped me understand hair a lot more better than any other technique. You guys can see we did close it a little or halfway, and we're just going a little bit lower than what we did with the one guard open. Now we closed it halfway, and we're just going lower and lower. We're basically fading down now. And then we fully close it, and we're gonna attack the rest of that middle ghost line. Keep in mind, it's not gonna take it out completely, but it is gonna soften it up a lot, getting it ready for our next step. As you guys can see, the blade is flat, not giving too much of a flicky motion. The higher you go, the more you gotta flick. And you gotta picture it like sandpaper. That's how you get a super buttery blend. If you do a lot of flicking, it's gonna have a lot of inconsistency and a lot of holes. If you keep it flat, it's gonna look super smooth and a lot more smoother than when you flick it. Right here you can see we did grab our half guard, lever fully closed, and right here we are utilizing our corners. Remember to be careful with this step because you can push it up and then the blend's gonna look super high. So just go right on the dark spots and just flick it out. This step you do want to give it more of a flick. This is basically just detail work. Any little spot I missed with my half guard, we're just detailing out with our next bottom step. So right here I did go in with my 1.5 guard just to shape it up a little bit more and connect the bulb to the blend a little bit better. Lever fully open, and we're just giving it some more shape. Now I jump back down to my one guard. This is still detailing basically. I'm just touching up the fade, basically making it look a lot more consistent. We're just connecting everything better. Right here I do add a little bit of hairspray to his lineup. That way it can come out a lot more crispier and lock in the hairs. Blow dry it a little bit with some cool air, and it's gonna lock it in. That way when you come in with your trimmers, it looks a lot more crispier. Now this is how my client came in looking like. This was the before, how he sat in my chair, and this is how he's leaving my chair. I think the cut came out super clean, super crispy, nice and simple, nothing crazy. I hope these steps helped you guys out. If you guys like this type of haircut, comment down below, let me know what you guys want to see on this channel. I am posting weekly for you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you guys get alerted every time I drop a new video. Follow me on Instagram, on TikTok, at Noel Blends. Shoot me a message. I'll be more than happy to answer every single one of you guys' questions. Other than that, it's your boy Noel Blends, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.